Hey everybody, this is Ben Atkin at Coldwell Banker Property Management, and today we're going to talk about security deposits and how to keep the biggest amount of your security deposit possible. If your landlord has a security deposit hanging over your head, then this video is for you. The most effective thing you can do when you first move in is take a video, take some pictures, document the condition of the property when you move in. When a landlord moves somebody in, they do an initial inspection that includes 360-degree pictures of everything. At least we do at Coldwell Banker. So if you move out and the landlord has pictures of damage on the property, you're going to want to have documentation that you didn't cause it, that they were already there when you moved in. So that's the most important thing. Here's another really important one. If you change the property in any way without authorization, for example, you paint the front room pink, the landlord absolutely can deduct from your security deposit to repaint the entire room. Can get really expensive, so no unauthorized repairs if you want to keep your deposit. When you think about when you move out and the landlord deducts some money from your security deposit, usually you're thinking of things like cleaning, damage, but the biggest deduction from security deposits is actually because the tenant does not give enough notice before they move out. Most leases are set up in this way, where they're for maybe 6 or 12 months, but at the end of the lease, it turns into month to month. Meaning, if you don't give your 30 days notice until one day before your lease ends, your landlord can legally charge you for another 30 days of rent. So that's a really important one. Really pay attention to giving enough notice. Now let's talk about damage. There are a couple of really small things that actually cost quite a bit of money to repair. For example, let's talk about light bulbs. Light bulbs are really cheap. You can buy a whole bunch of them for just a couple of bucks. But what isn't cheap is sending a handyman out to replace a couple of light bulbs. Usually they charge by the hour, and there's usually a minimum service fee. So it can get really expensive changing light bulbs. That's why a lot of property managers have a per light bulb security deposit fee of like $6 a light bulb. So really pay attention to your light bulbs. Make sure that when you move out that they are all on, they're bright, and that they're working. Another really small thing that costs a lot of money to repair are nail holes. You may not think about it, but when you're just putting up a little nail hole to put up a painting, you don't think about the time that it's going to take sometimes for a handyman to fill in the hole, to prime, texture, paint, sometimes repair the drywall if it's a really, really messy hole or a really big one. So really pay attention to what you're putting into the walls, and keep in mind, I may need to pay for this when I move out. Okay, and we're gonna go on site to give you an example of yet another small thing that can make a huge difference in protecting your security deposit, and that is door stops. So here's a perfect example of a security deposit deduction waiting to happen. As this door opens, there's no door stop. Eventually that's going to wear a hole in the wall. In fact, one really hard time and it'll actually put a hole through the wall, and that'll be a pretty expensive repair. Now here's a floor door stop. Just install that right here. And that'll prevent any damage to the paint or the drywall right here. You can also use this hinge style door stop, and it'll keep the door from running into the wall as well. And here's your last tip, returning keys. If you don't bring the keys back to the property manager, they have to go and rekey all of the locks. And that's very, very expensive. Do yourself a favor, if you need to make copies of keys to give back to the property manager, go ahead and do that, but don't forget to return the keys, especially garage door openers too. So keep in mind that returning keys is another great way to protect your security deposit. And I think I speak for all landlords when we say we don't want to take people's security deposit. Keep in mind, if you do have some security deposit deductions, that the reason why the rental was so nice when you moved in was because the property manager was really particular about making sure that everything in the property was flawless. Okay, that's everything. Thanks so much. I really appreciate your watching my video. Please subscribe. You don't want to miss next week's video. Leave a comment, leave a question below. Thanks so much and have an awesome day.